Okay. Hello, hello. I think I'm streaming now. Let's see what we got here. I want to go here and I want to go here. Yo, cool. All right. I am visible. I'm wondering, yeah, I'll stay. Okay, Michelle's here and Sam is here. Hello, my fellow friendos. Let's see. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Well, the cool people are all here, so I'm assuming I can be heard just fine. I had to put the mic a little farther away than usual. Well, she looked real scary, but at least she smells nice now. And let's see. I didn't actually end up washing this one. I forgot. And this is my personal wig, but I guess we kind of get started soon. Hello and welcome to this month's live stream. Let's see, what am I doing? There we go. Yeah. Hello everyone. How are you? We'll just be hanging out, chatting, and I think I'm gonna fix this one. This one is our macaron color in the Giselle style, so it's long and wavy, and usually you can kind of separate all the hair to be nice and voluminous, and we've used it to make some really cute updos or like poofy pigtails. It's a really cute, versatile wig, and for being as long as it is, it's fairly lightweight even in the summertime. I wore a Giselle wig in a photo shoot I did a few years ago with the black and gold gilded atlas, and that was in the middle of the summertime, and it really wasn't so bad. The worst part was all of the layers of clothes that I had on, not my wig. So it's a pretty nice wig. I really like this one. And even on me, a tall person, it goes, way far down to my waist. So it's nice and long, lots of hair to work with. I have, this is one of my personal wigs. This is an old style we don't carry anymore. But to get us started, if you haven't seen, I posted 2 reels on our Instagram over this past week. That was kind of the prep work for getting ready to do this step that we're about to do now. So I got my wigs out, I kind of shook them loose from their package, dumped them in a sink full of water, and put on some wig shampoo. And a comment was made on the Instagram of, what if I don't have wig shampoo? What if I can't get to Sally's and get some? You can just use some regular dish soap, as long as it's not the kind with the like extra lotion, like the Dawn Plus Dove or whatever they do. But yeah, just the regular original dish soap, a little couple of drops to kind of, loosen up the head grease that's been hanging out in the inside cap of your wig. So we got started that way, and then wash it, swish it, cool water for sure, gentle patting motions and swishes, because we don't want to tangle them more than they probably are already tangled, and washing them does make the fibers stickier and tackier, and they tend to grip each other more once they've been cleaned, especially when they're wet. So the more gentle the agitation, the better. Then I rinsed really good, made sure I flipped the caps inside out to rinse them out and gently squeezed the water out, rolled them up in a towel, and then I hung them dry on a clothes rack for a couple of days. It really only took about 24 hours hanging up like that, but you know, the more time you have to give them to hang dry, the better. It's just, they're easier to handle when they're dry than wet. Like I said, when you've got the fibers wet and clean, then they tend to cling to each other more and get more tangly. So that's for that stage. Then after that, once you've got a nice dry wig, here's where we are now. I've got a wig head. This is one of our nice pretty ones, but if you don't have a nice hand paper mache, fabric mache wig head like the one we have, you know, any old scary wig head will do. Most of the scary eye makeup on this one has been faded off over the years. That's my fun wig head that I like to scare people with. It used to have like weird googly eyes that my mom drew on it. But what I like to do is take my wigs and take my wig head, and I take a big straight pin for sewing, and that just helps hold the wig onto the wig head. And if you have a stand that you can put your wig head on to keep it from moving around, or like a clamp or something, that's even better. I don't, so I just work with what I have. Oftentimes I kind of set it on the edge of a table like this, so that the hairs can hang off the edge and I can work with it long. Although sometimes even I'll just set it in my lap so that I can work with a section at a time. I remember a long time ago, we did a tele interview with the Lolitas from Mexico, and I sat there the entire time just combing out and zhuzhing a wig that we needed for a fashion show later on in the week, or yeah, I think it was later on in the week, or it might have been even the one I was going to wear that night. I'm not sure, but yeah, I sat there and with a wig in my lap the whole time, just kind of brushing and combing and teasing, because most of wig care I find it's best to do just with your fingers. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I've got my wig pinned on, let's see, and then I like just it's a detangler spray basically. This one is an oil-free curl defining conditioner detangler that is good for synthetic hair. You can find something similar to this at pretty much any beauty supply store. I believe Sally's has some, or if you just go to like your local wig or hair shop beauty supply store, they're going to have some stuff that will work for you. And this one, honestly, I've had since I got into cosplay and Lolita, and it's the same bottle I've had, and it's maybe like, I still have about 2/5 of the bottle left. Like, you don't need a lot. And then after that, I do like to use these big section clips. You can get metal ones. I have this plastic one. Right here, let's see. There we go. This is a weird light blue, it's hard to see. Or you can use like a big claw clip. That works for me sometimes. And then every so often I use a very wide tooth comb if I feel like my fingers are creating too big a sections and I want something a little bit finer. Obviously a fine tooth comb is going to be too much. A wet brush might be okay because the bristles on them are so elastic and bendable that it probably won't fray out the ends of the wig too much, because you know, sometimes just like your hair, the ends of your wig hairs are going to start to get all frayed out and poofy, and they're not going to lay nice, especially if you're doing a more curly style than this one. You won't be able to get that nice defined curl at the bottom of the hair if you brush it out too hard and vigorously. So that's why I do a lot of my wig care with my hands. And But the wet brush, I feel, we do sell wig brushes too that have a similar effect of that really bendable bristle to kind of keep from pulling at the hair too much. So yeah, then I guess I just get started. I'm gonna shake this up because it's been a little while since I've used it. And personally, I like to just go ahead and spritz the entire guy to kind of get me started. Whew. This lady needs so much help. I washed all 4 of our Giselle samples this week. We've had Giselle since we started selling wigs, which has been at least 5 years now. I'm not sure, Michelle might remember more specifically when we started selling wigs, but it's been a while now. And the Giselles have been a very popular staple in our collection. And so they've seen a lot of abuse over the years. A lot of abuse. They get put in fashion shows, they get put in photo shoots. They're very popular because they're very cute and they're very versatile, like I talked about earlier. So they're very, very crusty looking. Now, on pieces that are really short in the front here, especially that don't have a lot of curl, a little bit of a spritz with the detangler spray and this wide tooth comb, she's looking nice again. The detangler spray, this one it's oil free, but it does add a little bit of shine back in. And then once it dries, it's not heavy or weighing anything down. And the good thing about it too is if you find that your wig gets a little staticky, that the detangler spray can help tame the static a little bit. So, whew, wow, okay. This piece in the front right here needs a... And we don't want to get too much spray on it because, again, we don't want it to be super wet, but wow. I might have to go in with the comb on a lot of this. This wig is so very, very sad. And all 4 of them are very sad too. They're laying in the back and I haven't touched any of them yet. This is the first one I've started to zhuzh up and fix. And let me see what we've got going on here. Let me check. We've got a dead silent a dead silent chat, so just gotta check to make sure I'm still going right. Yeah, and so the other thing too that I like to do same goes for your regular hair as a wig hair. I like to start at the bottom and you work your way up, so you brush out all the tangles at the bottom and work your way on up the length of the hair. And I think this, because the Giselle is so long and so luscious, this may take an extraordinarily long amount of time. Oh goodness, yeah. Poor Giselle. You poor sweet darlings. Okay, and so now I've come to a spot here that is a very horrifying tangle, and I don't even know if it's possible to see this. It's just a very bad tangle. So that's where I'm gonna have to really go in here and kind of individually separate out the hair pieces. And if it gets too much, you can always just trim it off. That was the one supply that I did not find myself. But I guess I have plenty of scissors in here. And I can always grab a random pair and cut if I feel like a tangle is too much for me to handle. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Yeah, Michelle said we started selling Giselle when we started selling wigs. Yeah, which I don't even remember. Well, we've been Belladonna for 8 years now in a few months. And obviously we didn't start selling wigs right away, but, you know, fairly early on in our history. So I would say at least 5 years we've been selling wigs. And the poor macaron has been a very popular color this entire time because, I mean, it may be hard to see that it's a very mixed, it's a very blended color wig up close. It's a mixture of kind of a ashy blonde and a medium lavender color. So with the two of them combined, it's really lovely and it's really dynamic in person. It's hard to see that, you know, over the lights and this, you know, not so hot webcam quality. But yeah, in person, it's a really stunning wig. Oh gosh, let's see. Now, I'm trying to think. I've not actually really like fully washed out and combed a Giselle before. Usually the ones that I have to redo for myself are the very heavily spiral curled wigs. And those, it's pretty obvious the way the hair wants to lay. I might have to cut this out. This is so bad. Hold on, let me get some scissors. Sure, we'll get these honking ones. Oh, gosh. Let me just doot. I'm gonna take that. Might need to get myself a trash can too. And the fewer hairs that you can clip out of a knot, the better, for obvious reasons. You don't want to clip out a huge chunk unless it's, you know, down here in the back in the nape of the neck area. Because the more you clip out, the more visible it's going to be in your finished style. But, you know, when we started talking about doing a wig care live stream, it was one of those things like, oh, you know, it's probably during this pandemic, before conventions start up again, would be a really, really fantastic time to go through our sample collection and fix and clean all the wigs that we've had for years and years that travel around and get abused regularly, to, you know, fix them up and clean them and make sure they're nice and ready to go for when we start seeing people in person again. And so far, the only convention that we have on our radar right now is NecoCon 2021, which is in the beginning of November. We're hoping by that point things may have calmed down with lots of vaccines out, and then NecoCon is a fairly smallish convention on the grand scheme of conventions, and it's a fairly local one. You know, people do travel, but because of where it is in Virginia, it's a lot of Virginians and a few North Carolinians who come, as far as, I've noticed. So it's not, gobs and gobs of people traveling from out of state and all of that. We had decided to roll over, for Boston and Colossal Con to 2022. Yep, that's right. So we decided we'll roll those over just for safety reasons. We're not all healthy, and I've got a little one who can't get the vaccine yet, so. Did anyone else watching have gotten their first and second doses yet, or did you get the one-shotter? And I hope your experience went well with the second dose. I was pretty lucky on mine. I got mine on Wednesday, and I didn't feel bad at all. No headache, no fever, no body aches, no flu symptoms. The only thing was injection site pain and armpit pain. We're guessing it's probably just because there's a lymph node there. I don't know, but it was just very weird. Like, wow, my armpit really hurts. Yeah, you guys with special immune systems. Well, and honestly, doesn't Megan have a fairly special immune system as well? So, I would say the 2 and 3 of you, of the 3 to 4-ish of us that make up Belladonna. Okay, I know, and it seems like I've been working on this one little front section for such a long time, and the more frequently you do hair care, the less it takes each time. These have literally never been washed and cared for, so, oh goodness, poor baby. And I do admit that I am a little particular when it comes to brushing out a wig, because I feel like if I'm going to take the time to do it, I might as well do it right. Especially if I'm personally going to be wearing a wig. I know that if I'm going to wash it and really, really fix it, I want it to be nice and fixed. And there might be a point where I might say, you know what, I'm done. This is fine. But now, as you can see, as I'm combing it, there is sort of a singular spiral curl that's starting to take shape in here, and then some fuzz around it. So as we get the piece kind of straightened and combed out, I've got a little chunk up here at the top that needs some help before I can really finalize this piece, but I'll take the strand that I'm working on as I'm finished detangling it and kind of gently wrap it around my finger and kind of set it in place. And now this one's a little bit wavy, so that doesn't quite work exactly the same way as a spirally curl wig would, but it's pretty similar in those regards. And let's see, get this little chunk out here. There we go. Oh yeah, that's coming out real nice with that very, very gentle combing like that. Whew. Wow. And then once we start to get more detangling happening, and this might be one of those things that I show you on a couple of pieces, and then I'll just have to do the rest after the stream is over, because it can be a pretty lengthy process to do an entire wig, especially one that's as long as this one. And honestly, really, all of the wigs that we have a ton of hair in them. Even the short styles, they're very densely packed, and which, you know, makes them great quality and great looking, but makes it a little bit of a process to get them all brushed and combed and straightened and looking nice. So let's see what you're doing here. Whew. I'm gonna spend my entire live stream on this one front chunk of hair. The cry. And yes, this is a skeleton mug. Because, you know, you just gotta be a spooky bitch all year round. Alright, come on, you. Get. See, the top of it straightened out pretty nicely. It's the bottom. And a lot of times, too, it's the bottoms that get the worst because they're the ones flying around. The bottoms and the nape of the neck are the tangliest spots on wigs. They just get so frazzled by the ends, and then right where it's rubbing against your neck and your back. Okay, that's not too bad here. This little spot right there is what's killing me. So I'm going to go through and just kind of pull out little individual hairs from the knot until the knot is gone. That's sometimes how you have to do it. If you have a tangle that's not... This tangle is funny because it's not too tightly woven. It's just a lot of hairs wrapped around each other very loosely that they don't want to dislodge, but if I go and pull them out this way, they're detaching from the knot fairly well. And actually, once the main part of that starts to go, then the rest of it just comes away. There we go. And so part of then what we're going to do once we've got a detangled chunk of hair that we want to turn into a, I guess in this case a wave, but oftentimes it would be a curl, is we're going to kind of brush it together and try and get the waves or the curls to kind of form together. You know, the more you brush it, the more separated the curl pieces become, and that's not what we're going for. We want to kind of put it back into its original style. And obviously, you know, straight out of the box, they're going to be these nice S waves that, you know, you may want to separate some, but you don't want them to just turn into a giant frizz ball right from the start. I mean, unless you do, and if you've been keeping up with our Instagram and Facebook posts this week, a lot of the wigs that we posted are giant curly frizz ball styles. But, you know, sometimes that's a look that you want. So, you know, I guess it really all depends on what you're going for. But I would say for this one, especially if it's kind of a casual style that you're wearing, that you may just want to kind of gently shake it out and put it on. You don't want to have to do a lot of styling. For me, that's the best part about wearing wigs, is not having to do a ton of styling. Like, you know, you have a certain look in mind and you want to just take it out of the box and put it on your head, and then, you know, that's part of your outfit, and there's a look, and then you're ready to go. You don't want to have to fuss with it too much. Okay, let's see. So this wig, I've just been sort of kind of running my hands across the entire outside of this to kind of mold these waves back together into one. It's sort of the same concept of when you're doing vintage waves and that kind of pin curl set is once you separate all the curls, they turn into a giant frizz ball, and then you keep brushing and the curls kind of form back together into waves. So that's what I'm doing here, is kind of taking this and kind of getting it. This is a terrible backdrop. Let's see if you can see against this dark hair. I'm kind of getting the waves back together in one distinct piece. And I will take this and wrap it around my finger just to, that does also kind of help to set the wave back together. And one thing that we like to do is kind of get the top, wrap it around a few times, and then brush out the ends, since the ends tend to be the frizziest parts. And we'll wrap it, get a little bit more straightened, wrap it together. And especially too, when you have it wrapped around your finger, you have a really good handle on where, you know, that you can just pull from. You're not moving your whole wig head around. So you can start from there and kind of just wrap and straighten and wrap and straighten and wrap and wrap and wrap. And kind of, there we go. And then I kind of gently let it fall off my finger like a little sausage. And there, now I have a cute little ringlet. Look at that. Hey there. And not that this wig is necessarily supposed to be a ringlety style, but, you know, the more you can kind of get those pieces together, the waves will fall into it a little bit better as you wear it, as it just rests and hangs. That's the good thing with synthetic hairs. It does relax, you know, but it does also still hold a shape. So I have a few other styling tools with me today that I don't even know if I'm going to get a chance to show you because of how long this little chunk is taking. So I'm taking this section, getting all the, I've got a piece right up here that really needs some help. Okay, separate this out so the less of it we're working with, the better. And I may actually end up taking this entire section and turning it back into a wave. Just kind of depends on how dense you want your pieces in the end. I know generally with a ringlety curl style, it's nice to have a big chunky piece to kind of wrap around, especially if it's long. Sometimes we have smaller ringlety wigs that we like to separate more, have smaller pieces on. Okay, I thought you were going well, but there we go, there we go. Woo, there we go. And as your wig gets detangled, it's fun to kind of see it coming back together. You can kind of see when a piece is starting to take shape again, and you think it's ready to remold into a curl or a wave. This one is so very close, yet so very far. Oh, goodness. All right, let's see. There we go. Let's see, pull a few more little hairs over here so I can make this section nice and even. Like when you're doing your own hair, you don't want to have some crisscross sections that are kind of meshing weird with each other. It makes it really hard to comb them, I find, especially for something like this. All right, come on, you. doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good. Oh, man. Ah, there we go. Get some of that wave back in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness. Sometimes you might say, this wig is beyond help. Turn it into a giant poof ball style and get some OTT accessories in there and call it a day. Alright, let's see. This top part you're gonna wrap. I do like this around the finger and then comb it out from there method. It does give you a really good anchor point of something to kind of tug on so your wig isn't just moving around all over the place. And if you run out of finger because the hair is very long, then you can always let it down and then kind of hold the curl in there a little bit, like, let's see, like this, and kind of start down a little bit lower. Give yourself another turn and then start pulling from there. I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet. And this does have little bangs pieces that can kind of stay separated. And I did want to show you too, I have a selection of curling irons with me today, and I don't have any of them turned on yet. Yeah, Sam, oh gosh, I'm so glad we're not, I should have started this earlier, but yeah. Definitely good thing these are not being displayed until November. But yeah, so my collection of curling irons, I have a few different sizes just personally for me, and I got them all for doing my hair, but all of my curling irons except for this one, which is a 1/2 inch, it's the smallest one I have. It only has an on and off. But the other two, this is a 1 inch with a clip. There. And then this one, oh, no. This one is a 3/4. And then this one is a 1 inch, also with a clip. Now this one, this one's vintage. This one was my mother's, so I'm not really sure exactly how old it is. But it still works. But, yeah, depending on the tightness of the curl of your wig, or the style that you're wanting to go with on your wig, will kind of determine what curling iron style you're going to want, what barrel size. But what I will say, too, is because our wigs are synthetic, but they are heat styleable, I like to always put them on low so they're not getting super duper hot. Just, they're not going to melt on low, but they might melt on high. Or they might just get really stinky. I don't know. I've never tried it because I don't want to risk it. But if you feel like your curls are getting too straight, too frazzled, then once you've gotten them nice and combed out, you can use that curling iron to reset the curl. And with something like a wave like this, I may only take my curling iron and kind of loosely wrap it like this to kind of set a piece, and then take it down here, wrap another piece this way, take it down here, continue wrapping that way, just to kind of give a few little kinks and bends into the hair without forming like a full-on spiral curl. Because what you do want to do once you've heated up your hair, you want to hold it in the position that you've set it in until it cools down, because that's what's going to really keep that curl. That's why I recommended when you're washing to not wash in hot water unless you have a style that you think is too curly and you want it to loosen up some. Then you may want to use some warm water to loosen up the curl. But otherwise, the cool water is going to help maintain the original style of the wig the best. So one of the things that I had suggested were section clips. Now these, for me, I'm using them when I'm styling. Once I've combed out a section, I'll take it and clip it this way to hold it out of the way. And then I can grab my next section and start on it. And that kind of helps keep, and I generally work from one side of the wig to the other, and that helps keep the good hair away from the bad hair, so to speak. But what I do like to use, and now I've had a lot of these supplies for doing my own hair because I've done a lot of vintage styles to myself in the past, are a lot smaller little duck-billed like Pincurl clips. And what you can do while curling is to take your curling iron, you know, set your curl, let it fall off, and then keep it rolled up as in your, like you were doing a vintage heat set. Take your clip and put it in and hold it in the hair until it's cooled, and that's going to help hold your curl in there until the whole thing's cool, and then you don't have to worry about your style falling out because it, you know, didn't hold its shape for long enough. What was I gonna say? I had something else. Oh, I have a picture. Let me pull that up really quick. But if you look for those Velcro rollers, you do have to be kind of careful, and I would say maybe the bigger the better, because the Velcro can get stuck in the wig hair, so you want to wrap extremely loosely around the Velcro roller. But that's going to be a nice, they're hollow and they're airy, and so the curls are gonna cool off a lot faster. And one thing that I actually have done with the Velcro roller is roll it up cooled and then use a high temperature blow dryer to heat up the hair that way. And then when you take the blow dryer away, especially if you have that really narrow tip that kind of sends a beam of air in a little line that you can hold really close to that curl, then that's going to help heat up the hair, and then you can just take the hairdryer away and let it cool down, and then you've got a newly molded curl on your wig. Same with a steamer. It doesn't really matter if it gets wet so much. You just leave the rollers or the Pincurl clips in until they've cooled down and dried off, but you can use a garment steamer. They're hot enough to get your wigs set into a new style. That's what I used to use a lot when I was a baby cosplayer, was the garment steamer, to try and, especially if you have a little like a kink in your wig hairs in one spot or another from either just being in the package or just some weird factory defect or whatever, and you want to kind of loosen it up, that steamer is pretty good for that. And a lot of times too, you know, a lot of anime characters are straight across bangs, which is also very cute in Lolita. So if you want that kind of like bumped under bang style, you can kind of use that steamer to help bump under and kind of curl it up without forming like a full-on curl. I've used the Velcro rollers with the steamer on bangs, and that creates a nice effect. And you can use them on the little side framey pieces like this one, how they kind of come down a little bit longer. You can bump it in or flip it out or, you know, do something with it that's other than well, some kind of wonky. Let's see. There we go. Oh gosh, I don't even know if there's anything I can do. This is gonna take me so long. The top feels good now. We're just down to this like mid-range. And I do need to make sure the ends are straight. Oh gosh. There's just like this chunk in the middle that really does not want to loosen itself up. I don't know what to say about that. Okay, let's see. Ugh. All right, let me see. Okay, well, you know what? I am going to take this wig off really fast because I want to show you a couple of other cool styling pieces. And I want to use this more curly wig, even though I know it's not washed and it's not really ready for styling. But I had a couple of things that I got over Christmas for myself, for my own hair, that I think would be absolutely fantastic for wig styling. Or just, you know, sometimes you want to just have a cute hairdo with your wig hair. You don't necessarily want to have just, here's the hair. You want to put, you know, those little like poofy ball like pigtails, like I did in the little witchy academia, dark academia witchy shoot that I did a couple months ago. You know, you want to just have a little do, or sometimes you want to maybe take up some pieces and make little like hair ears or what have you. So I got these for myself, for my own hair, and there are these like cool little spiral pins. And when I take some hair, and this might be hard since because of how tangly this is, and I'll put links to these items in the description after the stream is over. But what I'll do, like, I think I want to make a little hair bun up here, yeah, with this piece, just for a little bit. And I'm gonna screw through each other. They just lock out. Oh, am I still streaming? Uh-oh, what happened? Computer. Okay, I look like I'm still streaming. All right, fantastic. Whoops. Okay, so yeah, so then I've got just, I don't even know if you can see this cute little hair bun, and I only put 2 little screw pins in, and it's nice and secure, and the screw pins kind of interlock with each other, and that helps hold in the style even more. So now I've got this cute little rosette looking hairdo, and you can put flowers around here, you could put little dangly chains, you know. Oh, I see. I did drop out. But I'm doing okay now, right? Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, that was the little twist pins. They're called spin pins. I think I didn't say that, but yeah, they're called spin pins, and they're fantastic. And I love them for my own hair, which is very fine and slippery. And I could see how if you have very thick hair, they would also work pretty well. But yeah, they're fantastic for wig styling, for a little do. And then the other thing that I got recently, and actually I have like 1,000 of them in my hairdo today, are these things called Frenchies, which they're just exactly like a U-pin that you, a hairpin like a dancer would use, but these are flocked with like faux velvet, and they kind of just grip your hair a little bit better as they go in. So I'm gonna take, they might even, if you weren't trying to do a full-on little rosette like this guy on the other side, let's see if I can separate a little piece of hair over here. If I can just do a little twist and a thing like that, and you can kind of weave it in and weave it down, push, 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 and you've got a nice little spot over here that is held up away from the face. So if you want just the bangs, you know, and a face framing piece and the rest of it kind of pulled back, and then this kind of gives you a nice little hair grip without being like super intrusive. And sometimes bobby pins, like, I feel like they wiggle themselves out of wigs a lot, and I often do bobby pin the wig, the ear tabs of the wig into my own head just for security. But I feel like a lot of times, especially if there's too much hair, a bobby pin's just kind of going to work itself out. But this little flocked U-pin, this Frenchie, I think that's going to be a fantastic option for styling. So yeah, those were my two little, and then I use these clear, this is going to be really hard to show you, these little clear rubber bands that you can get at pretty much any drugstore or hair supply store. And that's what I use to create those little poofy pigtails for the witchy shoot. With the Giselle in Lemon Meringue was the wig that I wore for that. Yeah, but I felt like before we got, you know, too close to time, I thought that those 2-3 little hair doodads would be fantastic wig styling extras that might be appealing to some of you all. And then let's see how this, if it grips the hair too much. No, yeah, that's pretty easy to pull out. That wasn't too grippy on the hair at all. And then there you go. You can let that curl go and you've got your hair down again. Yeah, gosh, these Frenchies are going to be awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited about that for future photo shoots and myself. And then the spin pins I think are going to be fantastic too, because who doesn't love a good little, like, Sailor Moon hairballs, you know? And then once you're done with them, you just kind of unscrew them counterclockwise. And they let themselves free. I would say in my own hair, when I put them in, sometimes they do get a little bit caught in my hair and they pull and tug and kind of hurt a little bit. But if you're putting them into a wig hair, at the very least, it's not going to hurt. So, yeah. There's this. So let's go back to our wig of shame. Maybe I need to move to a different section. So spending too long on one section makes you want to cry, right? So let's get this back on here. And the straight pin that I like to use one with a really big head on it, so it's really easy to find. You can see how large that one. This is a giant heart, but sometimes you can get those teardrop, like pearl-shaped ones that are, I think they're supposed to be boutonniere pins for, you know, pinning flowers on. Yes, would you teach my child to detangle wigs? Here, child, come and straighten this wig. You'll love it. Mommy and Cora will do a project together. Oh, goodness. So this curl, the top is kind of snarly, but the curl itself is holding a really nice defined curl, so I don't know if I even want to mess with this one. I might just set that aside and go do something else. Guess it depends on how piecey we want this to look, but Yeah, this might be one of those wigs where I just have to lay her down in my lap, grab a hunk, and sit and watch some TV. Watch some good shows. Something you don't necessarily have to pay too close attention to. I've recently been watching BBC shows with Ruth Goodman, and she does Victorian Farm, Tudor Monastery Farm, and Edwardian Farm. They're such charming, sweet shows about how everyday people lived, and they're using, the technologies available to them at the time. And then I found a fourth series of them going to the medieval castle in France that's being rebuilt using classic ancient techniques, essentially medieval techniques. But yeah, they're very sweet shows. Those are easy to watch and easy to do things like this too. Any other shows that people might have, feel free to leave them in the comments. I always love new suggestions. I love history. And I always need programs to watch while I'm sewing and doing this stuff. Well, I got absolutely nothing done in this hour. I feel like I had a lot to talk about, though. So, if you have any other ideas, any other suggestions, any other questions you have about wig styling, please leave them in the comments. I will try and update the description with those 2 fun little pin things that I found that will be very fancy for putting little updos into your wigs. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. I know that this is live, but comments are always turned on. So if you go back and you're watching this at a later date, please feel free to comment and questions and anything, and I'll get back to you pretty much, within the day. I'm pretty good at responding to comments. Yeah, and if you want to check out the 2 reels that I posted on our Instagram, with the intro wig care, feel free to go back and check those out. Yeah, I guess, let's see, in the Discord. Oh, yes, in the Discord. That sounds like a great idea, because you can take a wig and tease it beyond belief and make it as giant as possible. That is actually an Arta wig. An Arta hair texture is a lot stickier, I find, than ours. So when you do tease something like an Arta that big, it tends to stay pretty big. But yeah, we can definitely post that in the Discord. If you're watching this and you're not a Patreon, please consider becoming a Patreon. We'll love you forever. We have some very cheap tiers, and the $5 one gets you access to early dress releases for anyone who missed out on the recent ice cream shop opening that we did, and we'll do another ice cream shop soon. But yeah, and then occasionally we're going to be holding more contests and raffles to add extra people to the Discord if you want to try and get in on that. And we post a lot of behind the scenes and our pets and stuff, so consider doing that if you're interested in goofy stuff. I like to post little things like, you'll see in the Discord today the crazy way I had to set up my office to be able to do this live stream. I post little hacks that I come up with when problems arise, give myself some strange solutions. But But yeah, and then our pets and just progress as we're working. So lots of fun things going on in Discord and Patreon. Yeah. And I guess that's it for us. I've been talking for an entire hour straight. So, and I got almost nothing done on this wig. What I am going to do, though, is when she is finished, I will take a picture of her and show you all what she can become with a lot of effort. And yeah, so or a little bit of effort if you do this more regularly. Please clean and condition and detangle your wigs more regularly for your own sanity's sake. I guess that's it for me for tonight. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Our next live stream is going to be towards the end of May, and we'll announce it earlier in the week before the stream. So stay tuned for that. I think next time might be a QVC style, here's all the dresses we have floating around the shop. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye! Thanks!